Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamie, and today I have a really special and fun video. I had so much fun doing this. This is the Atlanta Indie Bookshop Crawl. Okay, so what is the Atlanta Indie Bookshop Crawl? Well, it is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a special event that the indie bookstores around Atlanta and the suburbs of Atlanta as well, they all band together the week of Thanksgiving and do this bookshop crawl. And it's really cute because if you go during that week, you get this little like bookshop passport. There we go. And so it has all the names of the participating bookshops, and it says collect all to be entered into a raffle and collect 5 for 25% off one purchase. And so I decided to just go ahead and visit 5 of them, although I didn't actually use the 25% off one purchase, but I wanted to just go visit these bookshops because I hadn't actually been to any of them. I did not know about any of the indie bookstores in Atlanta, which is why I was really happy to see this because it introduced me to some really cool new bookstores. So I'm gonna walk you through my book crawl, where I went, and what I got there. Hello, it is Friday. It is Black Friday. We had a great Thanksgiving. It was very chill. We just stayed home, but to the important things, it is now time for the Atlanta Indie Bookstore Crawl. They encourage you to go to 5 or more of the independent bookstores around Atlanta. So we are gonna do a massive loop around Atlanta. Let's go. I'm so excited to see what we will pick up. Shop I visited was Virginia Highlands Books. It was so beautiful in a really cute part of town, and this bookstore was just stunning. They had a really nice collection of best-selling fiction, contemporary works, so it was a really good place to find new releases. Okay, so this was my first stop on my bookshop crawl, and first of all, I didn't realize that they actually had these little printed passports. You could print your own, but I don't have a printer, so I was like, well, I'm not, I don't need to collect the stamps or anything. I'll just do it for fun and, to film it and all that. So I didn't actually get my little passport until like the 3rd bookstore, so they're not all stamped, unfortunately. But the first place that I stopped was Virginia Highlands, and I told myself that I wasn't going to buy more than 1 book per bookstore because that would add up very quickly. But when I got into Virginia Highlands Books, I bought 3. The first book that I got from Virginia Highlands Books was Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I read Ishiguro's probably most famous novel, Never Let Me Go, earlier this year, and it was easily one of my favorite books of the year. I'd been interested in reading Clara and the Sun, which is his newest release. I believe this was released in maybe like 2019 or 18 even, so it's not like brand new, but it's his newest release, and I wanted to read this, but I wanted to read Never Let Me Go first. I read Never Let Me Go, I loved it, and then now I think that like Ishiguro could very easily be a new favorite author of mine. So I've only read one of his works, but I was like really feeling confident that I'm gonna love Clara and the Sun, so I went ahead and bought it. The next 2 books that I bought were Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents by Octavia E. Butler. This is a duology now. It was supposed to be a trilogy, but unfortunately Butler passed before she was able to finish it. But I also read Parable of the Sower earlier this year. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was really, really, really stunning. And I've been waiting to not only get myself a copy of this, but get the 2nd book. So next year I will have to read the 2nd book. And this is just, for those of you that don't know what Parable of the Sower is, it's a sci-fi dystopia that takes place in the very near future, though it was written in the 90s, I believe. And what's shocking is just how realistic it is. So this was written in 93, and this is about an apocalypse due to climate. But what's interesting about it is that it's not like this big, massive apocalypse, and then it's like 100 years in the future where, you know, where society has been radically changed by the apocalypse. It's like the ongoing apocalypse that's happening because of climate. It's, you know, people running out of water, running out of food. It's just very real. It feels like this really could happen within my lifetime, but even just like in the next couple of years, which is what makes it so viscerally upsetting. It's not an easy read. It's really challenging, but Octavia E. Butler's writing is so beautiful. I love our protagonist, and I really enjoyed this. And so this one was written in 1998, and what I think is just insane, and this is like the newly released edition of it, so they have like a new blurb and all these things, but this says, originally published in 1998, this shockingly prescient novel's timely message of hope and resistance in the face of fanaticism is more relevant than ever. And then what I think is really insane is it says that this includes the election of an ultra-conservative president who vows to, quote, make America great again, which, like, the fact that this was written in 1998, it's just, and then, like I said, this is already, like, so realistic. The fact that that was even in the sequel, I'm interested to see where this series goes, and I know that unfortunately, like, it was never able to be finished, but I still want to see what the next step in this journey was. So yes, I did go a little bit overboard at Virginia Highlands Books. I probably should not have bought 3 brand new books, but I'm happy because I really did want Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents, and then I think I'm really going to love Ishigiro's new work as well. The next bookstore that I went to was Tall Tales Books. This bookshop was so cute, and what obviously was the best part was their cat. Their cat was so adorable. I absolutely loved seeing a little black cat in the store. Actually, what I got at Tall Tales Books, I ended up buying Christmas gifts for my family, and that was the intention behind this whole project, was I was going to get gifts for my family, but I ended up, of course, buying a lot of things for myself, sorry. So I cannot show you right now what I got from Tall Tales Books, but I will be sure to update you in the future. I bought 2 things, by the way, 2 books. And I'm really happy with my choices, and I think that it's going to work really well for my family. After Tall Tales Books, I headed over to my 3rd stop of the indie bookshop crawl, and that was Eagle Eye Books. So again, I had no idea that these bookstores even existed. I did not know that there was anything like this in Atlanta. I had been trying to find bookshops for a while in Atlanta, actually, and I just felt like I hadn't really heard of many, and I had never heard of Eagle Eye Books, but wow, am I glad that I did this indie bookshop crawl so that I could see it, because wow. Yeah, it's called Eagle Eye Books because they have shelves stacked to the ceiling with books. They have one whole section that's all new releases, and then the rest of their shop is it's new and used. So there's a lot of used books there, books at a really discounted price. So I did end up getting 2 books at Eagle Eye Books, but you'll see why in a minute. I was okay with getting myself 2 instead of just 1. The first book that I got was 5 Tuesdays in Winter by Lily King. This is just such a gorgeous cover. Like, is this a book that I bought for the cover? Yes. No, but it's actually really, really beautiful, and I have never read any Lily King. This is a short story collection, and I haven't read any of her before, but I have heard that she has really gorgeous prose, and this book just kind of was calling to me. 5 Tuesdays in Winter, I mean, that cover is absolutely stunning, and I felt like it's really nice to have a short story collection that I intend to read. Maybe I'll do a whole video, a vlog of reading the 5 Tuesdays in Winter on 5 Tuesdays in Winter, and I'll make a whole thing out of it. This was really calling to me. I think it's so cute and sweet, and I've heard that a lot of her writing is just really intimate. They're stories about kind of everyday life and everyday problems, but really injected with passion, emotion, and this sort of like just everyday beauty. So I'm really excited to dive into this winter. And now for the other book, which is again why I said I was okay to buy 2 books, and that is because I actually didn't buy the second one. What's really cool about Eagle Eye Books, which I didn't even know this was a thing, but at Eagle Eye Books, they have a section that is entirely ARCs. And their rule, because you cannot legally sell ARCs, you can't purchase ARCs, and so their rule is that an ARC is free with any purchase. I was shocked. This is such a cool thing that they do. I was honestly just like, well, I'm gonna go back to that store like every single month now because they have ARCs. And when I was there, all of the ARCs were 2023 releases. So I was just like, shocked. There was nothing that had already been released, so they were all like really true ARCs. So the ARC that I chose was Camp Zero by Michelle Min Sterling. I literally sat at that ARC shelf, like I spent the majority of my time there, and my boyfriend was like, what are you doing? Like, just pick a book. And I was like, no, you don't understand how big of a deal this is that they have ARCs here, and I really have to pick the right one because there were so many that I wanted, obviously, and I just wanted to try them all, but I could only have one, so I chose this, Camp Zero. I don't know a ton about this book, and obviously with it being an ARC, there's not really many reviews out or anything. Honestly, looking at this, the blurb on the back for what the plot is, it's kind of complicated, but essentially it's about this kind of new settlement that they create in northern Canada, so it's like in the cold, but it's basically like they're trying to build this climate refugee community, and then they're going to take what they learned from this community and start applying it elsewhere as the climate starts to collapse. So this is like part research station, but also part just like community, and there's like a lot of people there doing various tasks as they try to learn about how to create a new climate-friendly society. And this follows our protagonist, who is a former sex worker, I believe, and she has to secretly kind of spy on one of the leaders of the camp, and she discovers that, maybe things are not all that they seem. Like I said, I don't really know too much about this, but there are a couple keywords in this blurb that really, it sold me. And some of those include mesmerizing and transportive novel in the vein of Station 11. That's good enough for me. And then you also have an electrifying page turner where nothing is as it seems. And then Camp Zero cleverly explores how the intersection of gender, class, and migration will impact who and what will survive in a warming world. So we have so many themes and so much intrigue with these topics. And I just think that this really could be the next big thing in literary fiction. I think this, if it's good, it's going to sweep the book world. So I am so happy that not only did I get a copy of it, but I got it for free because it's an ARC. I just realized I'm really dumb. It says on sale April 4th, 2023. So that is when this book will officially be released. Stop number 4 on my Atlanta indie bookshop crawl was Charis Books and More, and this bookshop is actually adjacent, or like basically right on the Agnes Scott College campus. And Agnes Scott College is a college in Atlanta that is it's an all women, all female institution, and Charis Books is self-described as a feminist bookstore. So their whole thing in that bookstore was that it was feminist theory, feminist literature, really focused on diversity and inclusion and works that promote those things. I did not really know what exactly it meant when it said it was a feminist bookshop, so I was eager to find out. So I kind of thought that with it being a feminist bookshop, I thought it might only sell theory works or nonfiction or, something of that sort. But that was actually not the case. Charis Books had a very wide selection. They did have a huge section that was all nonfiction theory. They had books on race theories, on all sorts of political texts. They had things on reproductive rights, just kind of a whole section like spirituality, a lot. They had a ton of stuff in that nonfiction section, but they also had an entire fiction section. They had new releases, they had children's, they had poetry and essays. So it actually was very extensive, which was pretty cool to see. So when I went in there, I was actually looking for some piece of nonfiction. I really wanted to get something from that bookstore that represented the place that it was, and I just, I wanted a nonfiction because I hadn't yet got any nonfiction, and I could not decide what I wanted to get, but ultimately what I ended up going with was Somebody's Daughter, a memoir by Ashley C. Ford. This memoir is one that I have had recommended to me. One of my friends in my book club, she loves memoirs, and she rated this 5 stars. This was one of her favorite memoir reads this year. She recommended this, and it sounds really emotional and impactful. So this is about our author. It's a memoir. Our author, whose father is incarcerated, and she learns some truth about her father. She learns some secret that her grandmother tells her, and apparently it sends her world reeling. So I have been told this is really wonderful. Ashley C. Ford is a great writer. I had a really great time with the last memoir that I read, and I'm excited to read another. And then the final bookstore that I went to was Bookish in East Atlanta, which this is just in a really lovely location. I really enjoyed going there. However, oh no, they're closed. Very sad. Yeah, it was closed, so I was not able to get to that bookstore, which means I did not technically complete the Atlanta Indie Bookshop crawl, which is really sad. I was going to find something else, another book for a Christmas gift, but it was closed. I will eventually make it back to Bookish, though, because it looked super cute. East Atlanta is really cute, so I'll definitely go back. But yeah, I did not end up being able to buy anything from them. I failed to get to the last bookstore, but I did get a coffee and a treat, so.
We tried.
We did try. We really tried our best. but they were closed.
We were there, so it counts.
It does count.
We went to it, but
yeah.
we didn't go inside.
But still, 4 indie bookshops, pretty good. Pretty good. I'm definitely sad that I wasn't able to get anything from Bookish, but I mean, this was my haul from this bookshop crawl, and it was honestly so much fun because I discovered so many new bookstores, and all of them are really lovely. The people that were working there were all so lovely, and I'm so excited because I now have a new place to shop for books in Atlanta. I have a lot of new places now, actually. And I think that all of these bookstores were so unique and so special, and they all had something different to offer, and I love that. I have my 2 secret holiday gifts as well. So I actually, I bought a lot of books on this book crawl, and it's great. I don't regret anything. I love being able to support indie bookshops, and especially ones that they are just, doing so much to help the community, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I'm excited to dig into my reads. I hope my family enjoys theirs, and this was just such a lovely way to start off the holiday season because I did it over Thanksgiving and on Black Friday and Small Business Saturday, so it just really put me in the holiday spirit and the giving mood, and I had a great time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please let me know in the comments down below, have you been to any of these bookstores in Atlanta, or do you have an indie bookstore at home that you love? Have you ever seen anything like this before? This was such a great experience, and I would highly encourage everyone to go and see their local indie bookstore, see what it's about, meet the people that work there. This was so much fun for me, and probably one of my favorite videos that I've made so far. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope you all have a lovely holiday season.